Awesome. You guys have got all this stuff unlocked. You're getting through the psychology. You're getting through the mastery. Let's go into the individual fears, look at exactly how to overcome them, how to master them, and how to have massive success from them. All right, let's move over to the computer. Let's make it happen. So the first thing we're gonna go over is the fear of poverty. This is the most powerful one. It's the toughest one to overcome. And it's so important, especially for trading, because you have to come at one with this fear to have the massive success needed. By releasing this terrible fear from your mind and understanding your positioning in the marketplace and using that as fuel for future growth. There can be no compromise between poverty and riches. It's one or the other. The two roads that lead to poverty and riches travel in opposite directions. If you want riches, you must refuse to accept any circumstances that lead towards poverty, and only go up, because the word riches is used in a broad sense. There's financial, spiritual, mental, material estates, successes. It all stems from your ability to ignore poverty and go towards positive riches. Bam, huge, 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 huge. The starting point of the path that will lead to riches is desire. And we've developed this through the secret formula. In this chapter, we're gonna look at how to get rid of fear of poverty. Prepare your mind to make practical use of desire. Cool? So determine what form and how much of these riches will satisfy you as given by your secret formula. And then if you know the roads that lead to riches and you've been given a roadmap, you can chill out, stay on your road, and neglect the things that don't work. Stop the stuff that's gonna hurt you. Get blame out of your life and just go towards riches. The responsibility is yours. No alibi will save you from accepting the responsibility. If you now fail or refuse, demand riches of life. Acceptance calls for but one thing, the only thing you can control, and that is state of mind. Remember, poverty is simply a state of mind. This is why in Damon John's book, The Power of Broke, there's a fundamental difference between broke and poor. Broke is a temporary moment of your life. Poor is a fundamental ideology set up inside the mind through conscious beliefs and subconscious inferences, ideas, and terrible, rigid, constructive thought outlines that stop you from growing and lead you towards poverty. So you have to overcome these emotions, overcome these thoughts, turn into the maximum quality reality possible, focusing exclusively on your wealthy mindset, your wealthy state. I'll leave The Power of Broke below. It's an insanely great book for how to start businesses instantly, make them massive successes, and accrue wealth without money. You don't need money to start. You just need the right state of mind. You just need the right mindset, such as in The Power of Broke, one of the biggest ones, this idea you can go out there and crush it no matter where you're starting from, no matter where you're going to. You can do it, and you can do it better than anybody else by using your intuition, your abilities, your growth, all to make this happen now. Crush it. Don't delay. Don't let your stuff fall from your life. You must accept and control your state of mind, which is the only thing that you can protect and create on your own. You can't purchase it, all based on you. Fear of poverty is a state of mind and nothing else, but it is sufficient to destroy one's chances of achievement in any undertaking. And the fear paralyzes the faculty of reason, destroys the faculty of imagination, kills off self-reliance, undermines enthusiasm, discourages innovation, leads to uncertainty of purpose, encourages procrastination, wipes out enthusiasm, and makes self-control impossibility. All stems from your personality and your fears, which will develop and create your accurate ways of thinking and concentrating your effort to master persistence, willpower, noteworthiness, and ambition, to erase the possibility of failure and fear, and increase willpower, increase ambition, increase memory, and succeed by using love and assistance and finer emotions of the heart to discourage negativity, discourage fear, facilitate friendships that invite happiness and growth in hundreds of forms, and lead to great sleep, massive success, and total joy and bliss, because you overcome this subconscious internal belief and fear of poverty, despite old truths. Everything comes down to the idea that we're in a society of overabundance of everything the heart can desire, and nothing is standing between you and your desire except the lack of a definite purpose. Remember, we are in an abundant world. There is wealth everywhere, money all over the place. Look around you, see wealth, see money, see growth, see possibility. All of a sudden, you see this massive achievement in the marketplace, and you can do it too. This is in abundance. It's everywhere, and it's right there for you to take. You just got to put in the time, you got to put in the work, put in the effort, grow, succeed, win, move on, and have the massive impact that you desire in any aspect of your life, all based on this one concept of overcoming the fear of poverty. Because that's just it, right? It's just fear. And without a doubt, it's the most destructive of the 6 basic fears. It's the top of the list because you have to have courage to overcome this fear. It takes growth mindset. It takes character. It takes personal commitment. And if you can have this courage and you can overcome the fear, all of a sudden, fear of poverty, which grew out of the human tendency to prey upon others economically, is animal, lower than humans used to, motivated by instinct. You can overcome that. If you can use your thought over your instinct, you can focus on accruing this wealth through your desire rather than naturally tearing down other people. Just like that skyscraper metaphor, right? It's the idea you can work hard, you can build that tall skyscraper, or you can wreck everybody else's down and yours will be the tallest. You have to make the right decision, make the right choice, go on the right path, and have the massive success that comes from putting in the effort, the work, and the value. Go out there and freaking do it, crush it, and succeed. Above all else, humans can increase their vibrations, their capacity to think. They have a superior sense of intuition for animals that lose and can't master this concept. And with your capacity to think and reason, you aren't going to be a carnivore. You have to get more satisfaction out of having business success. An age where life is consumed by money, you have to focus away. Understand, it's just paper. It's the dust of the earth, floats away. Bank accounts aren't going to give you significance. It's the impact that you have, relationships that you form, and what you can do to get everything you can out of all you've got. Money can be acquired, shouldn't be idolized. Time should be valued more than all else and treated as above the law rather than cash. The rules in politics dominate in business, and the whole world bows in respect when they pass by because of the social system about how important money is. Especially if you're starting out trading and you have this, maybe you have monthly expenses and you need to make like $2,500 a month. Maybe you're living a super cool place and you just need this much money to survive. And you've got like $3,000 in your bank account and you're going full time trading 9 to noon, which is awesome, right? Massive growth potential. As soon as you do that and you have this fear of poverty, because remember, you've got your set expenses here, all of a sudden, if you lose the, $1,000 and you're going to $2,000, you're freaking out, right? Because you can't live on what you have. You can't live on what you've worked so hard for. And so because of that, it limits your growth mindset since you're focused on the downside. It limits your success since you have to be perfect at this immediate time. And you can't necessarily go all in, go 100%, because if you have that big loss, it'll stop you from paying your rent at the next end of the month. It'll stop you from having groceries. It'll stop you from growing. It's all based on this idea that when you're in a rich state of mind, the amount of money here doesn't matter. Because you know that you're going to follow your principles. This can be whatever you want. But you know that this is going to be your positive growth and have a massive impact on the people around you. So this might be something like $4,500 at the end of the month. You would use that as fuel for your future development, fuel for your understanding that you can do it, you can grow, and you deserve. And as soon as you deserve, you're going to go out there and absolutely crush every aspect of what you're doing. Because you're suddenly above everyone else. And you're suddenly disconnected from the possibility of failure. You're disconnected from this fear that your success will fade away and turn to poverty. That's the goal. You don't want to let that happen to you. And the way you avoid it is by focusing more so on your individual ability to go through the plan to get to your goal. As long as you follow through the plan, you should create value, and you create value through your actions, through your thoughts. Once you create a value, it manifests itself into cash, manifests itself into what you need. Because money, remember, like a relationship, it's not going to come to people that just chase it around and freak it out. You have to be careful, you have to be gentle, and you have to let it happen naturally. It's the same principle, and the best way to do that is to overcome this fear of poverty that everything will go away and everything will stop. You have to go into this new state of mind where your success and you win and you grow. As soon as you can do that, you're going to have ridiculous levels of success in everything that you do. And it's all based on this single concept and ability to think with a superior sense of intention, with the capacity to reason, and to live yourself a free financial life. That's power. That's the growth. Nothing brings as much suffering and humility as poverty, and only those who have experienced poverty understand the full meaning of this. It is no wonder we feel poverty. It sucks, right? I try to live on $1 a day. 80% I think it's about 80% of global individuals live on less than $2 a day. I think that's freaking insane. I have a machine, and I'll talk about more over in the general members fair that mines cryptocurrency. It makes about 40 bucks a day. Like one of the little pieces in it makes about $2 a day. That piece of metal is an entire family's income abroad because they don't have assets. That's power. That's growth that overcomes that poverty mindset and lets you know that you're already crushing it so much. And it's just more and more icing on the cake and the cherry on top. And that growth that will occur exclusively for the reason that you go out there and you practice and you work, you go hard, the exclusive purpose to absolutely crush it. That's the power. That's the growth. Only those who have experienced poverty understand it. And that's why we fear poverty. Through a long line of inhabited experiences that we've learned, people know that they don't want to be in poverty and they cannot be trusted with money and earthly possessions if it puts them at risk of stinging indictment. They can be put into a reality where that poverty manifests itself and becomes true. This is why a lot of marriages are motivated by the wealth possessed by one or both of the spouses, right? Divorce courts are busy because people are eager to possess wealth and they will acquire it in any feasible manner through legal matters if necessary. They will cut off the vast power of sexual transmutation and poor relationships to accrue wealth. I've seen this firsthand. My parents went through this process while I was growing up. Terrible. And self-analysis discloses weakness that one does not like to acknowledge. This form of examination is crucial to all who demand of life more than mediocrity and poverty. Remember, as you check yourself point by point, you are the court and the jury and the prosecution and the defense, the plaintiff and the defendant. My parents used to argue a bunch before my dad moved out. Facts were not based squarely. People were not coming up with definite questions and demanding direct replies. Neither of them were able to go through that examination together and know more about themselves. Just instilled more fear, more self-argument, especially after they owned a restaurant for a decade, right? And when the times got tough, stuff got worse and worse and worse as they judged themselves through their examinations and showed that they were poor judges, and they came to the truth that no matter the cost, they were embarrassed and they feared bankruptcy. They were breaking even with spending about $3 million in top line revenue every year, and it sucked. Business was not effective because it didn't have a quality, unique selling proposition of the marketplace. It wasn't of service and value to those in the community more so than the initial money implanted and injected into the company. And that fundamental shift in values changed every single part of what they did. And after a decade plus of running that restaurant, building it from scratch, closed because there was a lack of quality marketing, a lack of organization, and a fear of poverty. They could have kept running it without a doubt. The reason it closed is they were trying to get an extension from the landlord to not pay rent for a month so that they could improve some of the upgrades in the kitchen. Why do you think the landlord said no and they stopped paying the landlord? Why do you think that happened? Fear of poverty. This idea that if we make this massive investment and it doesn't work, what'll happen? And so they opted not to make that decision. And because of that, the restaurant closed. Never been open since. It was vacant for 4 years until a mattress store recently moved into it. Crazy change in mindset and growth. It's all based on this idea. You are in control. You can analyze your future and you can create your own character to get to exactly where you want to be in your life and overcome these failures, come to massive success and get what you need. This number, put a 0 on it, put another 0 on it, put another 0 on it. There are people make billions. How do they do it? They master this idea that being poor, maybe not the worst thing in their life. Think about it. Look at stories like Good Fortune, the movie about the eccentric billionaire who went from nothing, living on less than $1 a day of food, going from a place of total and complete loss in the childcare system, in the orphanages. He grew up where he was put under foster care with parents, and his parents would just give up on him. They had nowhere to support him, no way to support him. He lived up in total poverty. He was living in his car, selling encyclopedia, growing up on bikers. They crushed his heart, his soul, his growth. Everything. He had nothing to go to. And yet, what did he do? How did he become a billionaire? He started one of the most renowned hair care products on the planet. Same thing with whiskey. Same thing with tequila. How did he do it? He focused exclusively on his plans, his goals, his values, and the money he would bring through value. He ignored his fear of wealth, or his fear of poverty. And he said, look, I've experienced the worst of the worst, and that's okay. I can risk this because I know that there are always terrible places to be in, and this is the only way to get out of it, is to make this risk. And if you can acquaint yourself with the ability to make that risk as a growth leader, as a missionary, as whatever you're trying to do to get to your overarching long-term goal, if you can make that risk, all of a sudden everything you do aligns to your core beliefs and principles and fundamentally shifts instantly, because you're in an elevated state with higher energy and higher growth, where you're not worried about that basic worthless, are we going to go bankrupt crap, but rather you're focusing on what matters, and you're focusing on growth, and you're focusing on development, and all of a sudden all those problems fade away because you have a clarity of mind, clarity of belief, and a clarity of success. And that's why you need to overcome poverty, get to your exact overarching long-term goal, build that desire, and absolutely crush it. Okay guys, that sounded awesome. I hope you got a ton of value from this. Go out there, apply it, have an amazing day. Thank you so much, and I'll see you in the next module. Bye bye.